Right now, looking at some statistics here, really numbers here that have a lot of people considering this and thinking about what you can do. 1 in 68 children right here in the U.S. is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And while a lot of medications have been proven ineffective over the years, one treatment right now has been giving some families some serious hope. And we're talking about medical marijuana.
Joining us this morning is Jennifer Swanson-Collins, who has personal first-hand experience with this. She's treating her 2 autistic children with cannabis oil. Jennifer, first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely love to be here.
I want to talk about one of the biggest misconceptions with cannabis oil, because the active ingredient is something actually called CBD, correct?
Yes.
It's not the THC that a lot of people associate with marijuana. It's the psychoactive chemical.
No
exactly.
THC whatsoever.
So explain this to people at home who are saying, well, that's not right. You shouldn't give your children a drug that has a psychoactive effect.
This does not have a psychoactive effect. This is made from industrial hemp. So this is not made from marijuana. This is made from industrial hemp, and it is considered by the FDA a supplement. It is not considered a drug. It's not scheduled. So it's legal in all 50 states. It can be purchased by anyone. So there's no concern to give it to a child. There's no concern to, I would recommend speaking to a pediatrician or some medical, your pediatrician or whoever you're seeing to treat your child's autistic symptoms, but it is certainly no concern there that you're giving your child any sort of psychoactive effects.
Okay.
And Jennifer, a long list of disorders associated with autism. What kind of results, specifically with your family, with your son, have you been getting with this cannabis oil?
I have seen amazing results, and I've been at this for a while. My sons were diagnosed 5 years ago, and so I've been trying multiple biological and medical interventions, and so I've kind of run the gamut, and some very successfully and some not so successfully. So I don't just get excited and this is the next new trend and wait for the effects. When I came across this, I thought, hemp oil, what on earth does that have to do with autism? And so I researched it a little bit. I went to a conference. I heard Dr. Bradstreet speak about it and a Dr. John Hicks, and I was shocked at all the ways it could help children with autism. It affects their nervous system. It affects their brain. It helps their immune system.
And what kind of changes have you seen in your son?
So my son, I have 2, and Willie is more severe. He's nonverbal. He's still in diapers. He's almost 7. And prior to the hemp oil, he was very aggressive. Pounding his head, self-injurious, scratching himself, scratching others, biting, frequent meltdowns, just collapse on the floor, kicking, screaming, and he could do this for hours. And my son Nathan, who's a little less severe verbal, but still has a hard time, and his biggest problem is anxiety, extremely high anxiety, very, very tense.
And how has it been since the cannabis oil?
Since the cannabis oil, they're much calmer. The meltdowns are less frequent. In Willie, I have seen much less aggression. He doesn't pound on his head anymore, doesn't really scratch much anymore. One of the biggest things I saw right away, like within the first week, he claps his hands, it's called stimming, just nonstop to the point where his hands are just raw, almost bleeding, blistered, and within about a week he quit doing that. It just calmed his system. And with Nathan, his anxiety just dropped. He just became he still has his moments, but he just became a much calmer child. He instead of every time one little thing went wrong, or if a piece of paper tore, which could make him collapse into tears, that he can handle that now. He can compose himself. He can move on from that, and so I've seen improvement in their sleep. I've seen improvement in their socialization.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. I mean, this is such an important topic, and of course, a hugely controversial one that a lot of people are having discussions about. It's important for us to hear firsthand accounts of how it can work. Yeah, Jennifer, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
I really appreciate being here.
All right, stick around. More Good Day Chicago after the break.
Thank you.